my brand new refurbished printer this week, so I printed up the show notes and I can
Wow, you are much more prepared than we usually are.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Brian Smith.
And today's show talks, this fall's TV shows. Some Marvel images popped up. Honestly, a lot of TV news, to be frank. I'm going to go back to that and more. So, welcome to Superhero Slate. You may notice we do not have Mike on the podcast today. I'd like to introduce our guest, Brian Smith. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chris. It is great to be here.
Yeah, except you're not here. You're there in Michigan.
This is true. Through the power of the internet, I am there.
Yes. So, Mike's at a wedding this weekend, and he gave us our blessing to continue the show without him. And you did a great job filling that in. I'll have to let him know his co-hosting job is on the line here now, since he's missed the show.
Happy to be a threat.
So, Brian, do you want to guess a little bit about yourself? I've known you for over 10 years now. You're going to be at my wedding next year, same as Mike. Anything else you want to tell us about yourself or what you do or what got you into this?
This is true. We've known each other about 10 years exactly, going back now. Back then I was in college for web design, and that's what I'm doing, web design and web development today. And through love of comics in college, it led you and I to start Comic UI, and I do web design and development back-end stuff for that. And
that's right.
You design our voice and front end. So
yeah, we would not have Comic UI without Brian Smith. He's our developer there. And do you hear the train already? Not even 5 minutes into the show and the train's going off. I knew that would happen. Oh well, it's fun. But yeah. So Comic UI, me and Brian, we're the brains and the brawn behind it. We'll be at some conventions. I think our next one that we hope to C2E2, right? I mean, that's a little 6 months out, but I think it's a fair guesstimate.
This is true.
You also work with, is it Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi?
Yeah, I've been working with a web series called Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi. It's produced by a local, to me, comic book shop, Able Ideas, and they, or a publishing company rather, and they put on these shows where they go to different businesses and comic book shops, and there's about 6 guys that interchange and do different interviews and try to talk about comics, beer, and sci-fi.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I mean, you're going to be a great help on this. And you've seen the show notes. You got them this morning. I said you wouldn't get them until today. But the first thing I found on iTunes today was that we have a new review on iTunes. And it's by a guy named Picket Fence 14. Are you familiar with this guy?
I am. This is actually me, Picket Fence 14. And this timing is incredible. I wrote this review a while back, and iTunes is great because you write your review and pour your heart and soul out to their products, and then you just have to suspensefully wait for them to come up. So, yeah, very glad to see.
So it's a 5-star review, which, thank you. We appreciate these. And can you go ahead and read it for us? I'm going to have you read it, so that way we know what it sounds like in your voice.
Sure thing. Well, these guys know comics is how I titled this review. This is an incredibly well-documented podcast. They cover everything, and with the show notes and YouTube versions of each episode, it's really easy to learn more about whatever gets your geek going.
Wow, that's succinct. I like that. And I like how you plug YouTube in the middle of an iTunes thing, too. Thank you for that. I work really hard on those. I mean, not really, really hard, but I mean, we like to do them. And as you can see from our show notes, we come prepared.
They're very helpful, and you guys ramble off through so many different topics that sometimes it's hard to catch them while you're engrossed in the show. You got to go back and YouTube's a great way to...
Yeah, it's easier than just Googling what we're talking about, I find.
Absolutely.
Because this week we have a lot of images, actually. A lot of images. I think this is probably going to be one of the most image-filled podcasts we've had.
Exciting.
In a while. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the news. I'm not going to lie. We're going to start in the news. We got Star Wars news right at the get-go. All right. Star Wars topic. Episode 9, even.
Great way to kick it off.
That's Wait, not... We have 7 next, and then not 8, but 9.
This I didn't do this math looking at these show notes. What do we know about this number 9?
So Colin Trevorrow, the director of Jurassic World, great film, right?
Okay.
I loved it. I don't. Did you see it?
I have not seen it.
I would recommend it as soon as you get a chance to go watch it. He has put on his Twitter an image of a black, looks like a notebook from Lucasfilm, and looks very official, and it says "Back to School." #9. So I think he's starting the pre-production on episode 9 already before episode 8 even has started rolling cameras.
That seems like a good sign.
Yeah, so I mean, we have 7 coming out in December. I'm totally stoked. I mean, that's going to be a good month right there. I mean, I've been playing with all the toys and Targets and Best Buys this past week. And I'm ready for awesome. Star Wars. And 9 is just like a dream at this point.
Yeah, and I mean that's far out there. This is we're dealing with Disney here, but you look at Marvel and DC's timeline of movies coming out, and it's fascinating to see Star Wars thinking this far ahead, seeing proof of it really.
Yeah, I think that shows like a love for it. Like when George Lucas did the prequels, he did one at a time, and I think having this overarching story where everything ties in very close knit, I think it'll make it a better trilogy. Overall.
I was going to say, trilogy. That'll really strengthen the trilogy side of it.
Yeah, and probably help. He'll be there probably for a lot of 8 and getting those notes as well. Which brings me to our next Star Wars thing, Rogue One. Okay, we recently talked. Mads Mikkelsen is cast in the film. He's from. I remember most from Hannibal. The TV series.
Sure,
if you've seen the TV series,
he is Hannibal Lecter, and
he looks like a snake in person. If I was to describe him, he looked like a snake in person. And
I would say that's a very generous description.
Yeah, he looks like a bad guy. He looks like a villain.
Yeah, he just oozes villainy.
His brother was the villain in the last season of Sherlock, the overarching villain with his own mind palace.
Did not know that. I can see that how they could be related, though.
Yeah, so... Yeah, but his character name may be revealed due to he was signing autographs, and he signed his name, and then in quotes he put Galen.
Okay.
Galen, as we know, is a character from Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Galen Merrick was the name of the main character. So, I mean, again, Rogue One takes place between the prequels, kind of like The Force Unleashed did, but Galen Merrick was the main character of those games. Now, will I think he's playing those games? No, I think Force Unleashed has been taken out of canon. The first one was great. The second one kind of tanked on story-wise because it started to do clones, and once you get into clones, we know it's bad territory.
Yeah.
But
one thing I like about Star Wars clones is that I believe they disintegrate faster, and I think that speaks to the logic of clone logic in movies. They can only you can't focus on clones too long before everything
falls apart.
Just falls apart.
Yeah, exactly. So his name's he's put Galen. Everyone else would put their character name in quotes. So that's kind of where this came from.
That's interesting.
But Galen, I mean, again, do I think they'll take characters that exist from the non-canon and use their names now? Yes, I do. But will he play that character, the Sith killer or whatever it was called? I doubt it.
Gotcha.
An example,
That's a good point.
Example of this was they use the name Star Killer in The Force Unleashed as well, but Star Killer base is the base in the upcoming Force Awakens. I don't think there's any relation in those either.
Oh, interesting. Okay, did not know either of those.
And Starkiller was the original last name instead of Skywalker for the characters in Star Wars.
That's right.
So,
sure.
There's a lot of scrapped ideas that look like they're finally bringing to the films in just different ways. Okay. Another thing about Rogue One is that there's a rumor that there's a scene at the end of The Force Awakens, kind of like how Marvel does their stingers. But it can't be the same because the Rogue One takes place, some 20 years prior or 30 years prior, maybe more, because it's in between 3 and 4, and Force Awakens after 6. So I think they could take this and be like, here's our next movie kind of tease, rather than it being directly related to the film, kind of like Marvel's doing.
More like how they had just the Avengers trailer before the original Captain America, instead of any actual
scenes. Kind of like that, yeah. Or kind of like, I think it was Amazing Spider-Man 2 had a trailer for Days of Future Past at the end.
Yep.
Or like a scene. It wasn't related to the film. It was just showing off another movie. So, trailers at the end is definitely an interesting concept. Something I would stay around for, to be honest.
I would definitely stay around for that.
So I'm on board with that. Totally on board. So let's jump into Deadpool. You like Deadpool?
Oh, I've loved everything I've seen about this Deadpool movie. Not a like diehard in the comics fan, but I read my occasional Deadpool miniseries. He's an enjoyable character. Ryan Reynolds is just seeming to really bring him to life in these trailers and images, though.
Yeah, so the newest image actually shows Deadpool with Negasonic Teenage Warhead. That's a mouthful of a name in itself. Reading
Love that name.
A Judy Blume book beside her, trying to show that he can relate to teenagers. And the title of the book is "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret." But it's got like the iPhone texting bubbles kind of on the cover there, so it's showing us really modern, really in touch with kids these days, I guess. But
yeah, I definitely, I'm looking at that image now. I'm definitely getting the humor of that. It speaks very loudly.
Yeah, so I mean, if Deadpool's got to be around someone with teenage in their name, he's got to learn how to relate to them through his Judy Blume books.
How better?
I told my fiance, who's a 5th grade school teacher, I'm like, you should take this into school, encourage kids to read, because Deadpool reads, and she's like, I don't think R-rated film characters are going to go over very well. And I said, okay.
I don't know that this has been acted upon, but I'm Kelly. I'm dating a 6th grade school teacher, and I sent her the Credible Hulk image that you had sent me at some point, and she said she wants a poster of that.
Yeah, my fiance said that too. Like, look, we're on to things here. Comic books go really far. If only they appreciated our brilliance all the time. But oh well, so yeah, that's cool. I think Deadpool is going to be a great film. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be there. That's our Valentine's date. We already put that on the book to go watch that on February 12th.
Excellent.
So next year we also have another X-Men filled movie with X-Men Apocalypse.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. So first up, we have a leaked image of an editing bay showing Apocalypse again. This looks like actually Apocalypse from the comic books, to be frank.
This looks much more like what I was expecting when I heard we were getting an Apocalypse movie adaptation.
Yeah, so two things come to mind here. Either one, the first images we saw was in really, really bad lighting because there's a lot of red and blue, and that could go in with his purple, or like his blue and make him look purple, and that was just a really bad image choice. Or B, they've listened to our criticism and have changed the color.
Yeah, and I'm really not sure which one of those is better, because I think they were trying to take a gamble with his skin coloring, and if they changed it because of fans, pre-production, that's a click of a button. Makes a lot of people happy.
So, I mean, in this, his eyes look white, like he's like summoning something or channeling some sort of power as well.
Sure.
But I really enjoy this look of Apocalypse more than the other ones we've seen. And
I agree.
I think a lot of people will as well. So, kudos, Apocalypse. I mean, the only other time we've seen them change a comic book movie is Bane's voice. They re-recorded his audio to make him sound clearer rather than more muffled in The Dark Knight Rises.
I did not know that. I still thought he sounded very muffled. But...
Yeah, apparently it was worse in the first versions when they showed the IMAX trailer or the IMAX footage off early with Mission Impossible. So they went back in and remixed the audio to make him sound better.
Wow.
Yeah, and you learn something every day from this podcast. The next image we have is from the same editing bay. You can tell from the lights glaring in the image, but it's three. I guess 2 of the original X-Men and Nightcrawler. So we have Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, and Cyclops. To me, Cyclops looks a lot like Miles Teller in Fantastic Four.
I see that instantly. That is a very hilarious comparison. The Miles Teller, is that his name in Fantastic Four?
Yeah, the Mr. Fantastic actor, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got a much, I don't know, chubbier face than the Reed Richards I was expecting, but this guy looks, they're looking pretty similar to me here.
Yeah, it does, and I guess it's like the hairstyle, like the chin line, and like the constant frown, maybe. I don't know. But you know, they have like black armor on, like black. I don't say it's leather, but it's blackish armor.
Yeah, armor's a good description for it.
So it's not, you know, their normal bright, colorful X-Men suits that we're used to, but something probably a little more protective.
It's more like they're going out for like paintball than like the X-Men from the 1990s.
I figured they were going into the grid and joining Tron.
There you go.
Mostly because the next image, if you look at, is actually you see the original, those three again, but with Mystique and Beast leading the way. So it looks like Mystique and Beast are teaching or leading these younger X-Men into battle or some sort of war.
Sure.
And judging by that stop sign, it looks like it has Egyptian writing on it. So I think this is in Egypt, kind of like
not noticed that.
where Apocalypse is from. Yeah, so I mean,
correct.
Once you take a look at these images a little more, they give away little details, but nothing spoilerish, I feel. The last image is something that I send a lot of these images to you anyway, but
sure.
It's we get our first really, really good look at Archangel and Psylocke. Now we've seen Psylocke before, so that's nothing new. But beside her is Ben something, or Ben Hardy, maybe, I don't know his name. Whoever's playing Archangel in looks like a metal Archangel suit.
Yeah, it's a very surprising costume. I mean, Archangel, a lot of different ways they could have taken that character. This is a very armor-based look.
Yeah, so we know Archangel has like the blue face with like the red markings. And on his face, he just looks like he has the blue markings where his Archangel blue face normally has them. But I don't think they're going blue with him. I think they're going to keep him a normal, like regular angel look, but then add the metal and those markings on him to kind of mix the two together.
That would be definitely a new look.
Yeah, I've never seen it. So another thing to point out is that his suit looks very kind of rubbery, like clothy.
Sure.
That will probably be fixed a lot in post-production to make it look more metallic.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what Thor looked like in the when they were doing test footage of the first Thor movie. Everything looked very rubbery.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what I was going to. Thor costumes always look, like a sleeve rather than metal until you get them in the film, and then you're like, oh wait, that looks like metal. So I think that they're going to do the same thing with him, and a lot of green screen as we can expect from an Apocalypse film.
Sure.
I'm ready for Apocalypse. It comes out May of next year. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's we have Deadpool, Batman vs. Superman, Civil War, then Age of Apocalypse. So we've got a busy front-loaded year, honestly. A front-loaded year. Which is great because we have a really, really dry end of this year.
This is true.
So I'm really excited for that. Something else I'm excited for, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming back this week, or this month.
Yeah, it's been a long summer.
It has been a long summer. That show kicked off on so many cylinders and took so little breaks, like you didn't have time to breathe. And that really helped it.
And that break with Agent Carter, when every other show then went on hiatus during March Madness, S.H.I.E.L.D. was just powering through every week.
Yeah, it really was. And, we've read Secret Warriors.
Right.
I know Mike doesn't read as many comics as we do, but I mean, he still does. But we've read Secret Warriors. Like, I own them all downstairs. We're huge fans. So this image here is from the trailer of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3. There's a snippet, and I saw this, that shows Sky or Daisy or Quake or whatever we're going to call her now, with her little metal gauntlets on. And beside it is an image from Secret Warriors where she has her metal gauntlets where she can channel her power of, I guess quaking things. Is that a verb? Quaking things?
Vibration?
Yeah, vibrations.
Quickness.
Yeah. So she's got the quake gloves. So these new ones look more sleek, more functional than her big ones. Her large gloves from the comic books kind of look like almost infinity gauntlets on her hands.
Sure, yeah. Iron Man gauntlets, Infinity gauntlets, yeah.
They're huge and kind of bulky, but in this one they're like a fashion accessory kind of style.
Yeah, this seems like something you'd get away with walking down the street in.
Yeah, exactly. But she also has these quake powers, but I also know she has a gun on her hip.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure they've got the night bullets in them, or whatever they call them on S.H.I.E.L.D. But
sure.
I mean, for someone with superpowers, you don't think she need a gun, do you?
No,
I wouldn't. But I like it. I think it's a good deal. I'm ready for season 3 of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's the first superhero show to kick off, and I'm pretty sure they haven't announced any breaks yet in the first half of the season.
Okay. It's good to know.
It is. The only thing I can think of is, like, I think Thanksgiving week is like a given because, Thanksgiving.
Sure.
But over Thanksgiving, I'm going to be watching our next topic, Jessica Jones.
Can't wait for that one.
First teaser landed this week of Jessica Jones, and I am thrilled. I am so ready for Jessica Jones. I don't know about you. The first teaser landed. I didn't know what I was looking at, and I've watched it several times since then. So it's like a picture of like a park, and then it flips around, and there's a camera lens, like she's like doing the private investigating side of it, taking pictures from a distance. Mm-hmm. Then that flips, and it becomes a spilled glass of whiskey because she drinks. And in this time, there's someone saying Jessica like really loud in the background, like in part of the. It sounds like it's part of the music, but it's someone saying Jessica. And
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's David Tennant's Purple Man character.
Okay.
And then at the end, it comes down to where she's in the streets, kind of like Daredevil did, and you see the Avengers Tower in the background.
Ooh, that's a good detail. I had not. That's something you'd expect from a level of detail you'd expect from Marvel, but that's not something I'd looked for.
Yeah. So I mean, there's no footage in this. They're taking it to New York Comic Con, which is good because they film most of this in New York anyway, and that's where it takes place. But they also gave us the release date for this. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
11/20, November 20th.
Mark your calendars.
Mark your calendars. If it's half as good as Daredevil, I'll be happy. Because I was thrilled with Daredevil. And
I was very thrilled with Daredevil.
That was a long weekend.
That was a long weekend. I think that's a pretty fair way to judge it, too. If it's half as good as Daredevil, we'd have an amazing show on our hands.
Exactly. And what I like about this is, it's, feels 2 months away. Like, it's a little, like 2 months and like a week, I guess. Or 8 days, but it's like 2 months away. That's a lot sooner than I expected, honestly. I expected it to be like a Christmas kind of release. Like, watch it over the holiday when we have no shows on TV.
Yes, especially with all these big 2016 releases, this is a nice, 8 weeks doesn't sound that long.
No, it doesn't. And I am ready to wait this 8 to 9 weeks for this November, watch it there, and then catch it again over Thanksgiving break. And that's something you really want to talk about with your family on Thanksgiving. It's Jessica Jones. They want to know her name.
Yes, they'll all know her name by the end of Thanksgiving,
and they'll be tired of it too. So yeah. Luke Cage is a big part of Jessica Jones. He's going to premiere in Jessica Jones. A new casting thing here is that Frank Whaley has been cast as Detective Scarfe. Detective Scarfe has been written as a hard-nosed detective. And so far, the only white person I've seen cast in the show.
Interesting.
My favorite thing, I looked at this image, I'm like, Frank Whaley, this guy looks so familiar. And then it hit me, he's in Pulp Fiction. He is the character who eats at Big Kahuna Burger.
What?
Yeah. So I mean, take a look at him. I'm gonna have the image here in on the YouTube video if you don't know, or look up Frank Whaley. And if you just do a quick look at him, he's in Pulp Fiction, and he's at the table whenever Samuel L. Jackson comes in and he eats his Big Kahuna Burger and drinks a Sprite.
Wow. In that iconic scene. Holy crap.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's had his days on the street before. He knows what it's like growing up on the street, apparently.
This is true, yeah.
So, I thought that was very interesting to bring up. We have an article on Comic UI about all all the castings on Comic UI, the before last ones, and Frank Scarfe was the last to be announced. We still have we're still waiting on the love interest. It's not Jessica Jones to be cast, and Diamondback, the main antagonist for the show. So we're still waiting on those.
Okay.
Luke Cage, I presume, will be a year out from Jessica Jones. Is my assumption.
You think a full calendar year?
Yeah, because they're talking about releasing these every 6 months. And
Okay.
so we got Daredevil Season 2 is already filming, so they can't do production on this one yet.
Gotcha.
So about a year ago, they were working on Jessica Jones casting about this time. So by the time they finish Daredevil and get it going, and we watch it in April, they'll start production on Luke Cage and have it next November for us.
Wow.
So that's my assumption on that.
That's going to be interesting to see a character get introduced so far in advance, knowing that they're having such a big movie coming up.
Yeah, like their own series.
Series coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phil Coulson, we got little dabs of him, but we didn't really know what he was going to turn into.
Right, yeah. I mean, he was great in all the Iron Man movies and Thor, but we didn't know he'd become a Luke Skywalker of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
With his robot hand.
A household. Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's exciting. It should come out about the time Captain Marvel is filming. So Captain Marvel, the newest rumor is Rebecca Ferguson is rumored to be favored as Captain Marvel. Rebecca Ferguson was recently in Mission Impossible, the last one, I think 5.
Interesting. The Rogue Nation one?
Yeah, Rogue Nation. She was the main lead. She is on par with Ethan Hunt in terms of abilities as well in that film. Like, she was a really, really good actress and, like, held her own even in the action scenes.
Okay.
Do I see her as Captain Marvel? No.
Okay. What makes you say that?
She's got the brown hair, or dark brown hair, and almost black, I feel. But I mean,
sure, yeah, I was gonna say that jumps out at you right away.
I don't see her as a blonde, and I don't care if they kind of change the hair color, but I feel like they have to stick to the traditional look. One of the images is her with a blonde, but she doesn't have. I mean, Captain Marvel's a happy person. She exudes like hope, and she's a female Captain America, honestly, and that's how I take her in the books, right? Enough to inspire Kamala Khan to be Miss Marvel. When she becomes Captain Marvel. This actress doesn't exude that, I feel. This is more of a G.I. Jane, if they take Captain Marvel in a G.I. Jane kind of way. This is how I view her. But I don't think she has that personality to come out and be that charismatic person.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. She's almost got like a Sigourney Weaver kind of vibe in like Alien or something. I could see her in the sci-fi world. I can see her fighting, but
I could see her as the villain.
Yeah, she'd make a great villain.
She'd make a great antagonist to Captain Marvel, especially if they choose another, a female villain as well. So I'd be okay with that. So Rebecca Ferguson, she's really good in Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. Go check it out if you haven't. I'd recommend it. What we're gonna jump in.
I've not seen that one.
You should.
I'll have to check that out.
I had a good time. So what we're going to talk about now is just a quick image of Infinity War. The teaser image that they showed at the Phase 3 preview event. It was all cam footage. They never released it officially. But now with Age of Ultron coming out, they're giving us more and more Infinity teasers. There's a whole section on the Infinity Gauntlet and the gems on it. And this is from the release. It's now on digital, by the way. You can buy it on iTunes, Amazon, Google, wherever you can buy stuff.
So this would be included on like the iTunes extras?
Yes, this would be a feature. So we get a really, really good look at the Gauntlet here. Really nice HD look.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
So what we see here is the Gauntlet has captured all 5 gems here. And what we've seen, though, are 4 gems. We've seen the purple. We've seen the red. We've seen the blue. And then we've seen the yellow there on the thumb. What we're missing is the green and what appears to be a big orange swirly one. Probably orange.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're saying 5. What? No, are you theorizing this is not a 6th gem on the middle of the palm here? Or
I think there are 6. I think we've seen 4. There are 2 left that we haven't seen.
Okay.
The green one and the one on the back of the hand is I think the orange gem.
Okay.
Because what we're missing is time and soul.
Yes.
And that big one on the back is swirling, kind of like how I imagine like a time vortex to look like.
Okay.
But I've always imagined the green being the soul gem anyway. I think that's right. I don't know. Artists draw them different way.
Irritatingly enough, yes, they do. Green always has seemed to be the best soul gem color. I have to agree with that. Yeah,
and it looks like a Doctor Strange color, to be honest, which I hope it comes next year. Because we have the other 4, and then to kick off Phase 3, why not introduce a 5th one, and then wait for the 6th later. Either way, here's a good look at the Infinity Gauntlet with Thanos and the gems on it. We're not going to try to break it down because we don't know, but I wanted everyone to see the HD image of it. So
yeah, and the focus is really on the gauntlet, but even Thanos is looking great in this image.
Yeah, he is a force to be reckoned with, to say the least.
I'm very excited to see more of him.
Yeah. So, Thor Ragnarok, we're going to jump in this. We got another Phase 3 movie we're talking about here. We've talked about it's filming in Australia, but it's also filming in Georgia, has been confirmed by the commission there, the film commission in Georgia. That Thor Ragnarok will be using some sound stages in Georgia. Georgia's the newest state with tax incentives for films. So we're going to see a lot taking place there, but that's really the only significance of that.
Okay.
So we're not going to waste time.
I'm very excited that Australia is getting utilized in the Marvel universe. It brought so many great landscapes to the Lord of the Rings movies, the Hobbit movies. Can't wait to see what it brings to Marvel.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with Thor. I think Thor needs locales that aren't just Iceland.
Sure.
For those looks as well. The DC equivalent of Thor is Wonder Woman. I think that's true because she's like a god. She's like literally a god of like war or something.
And a god among men, like mortals.
Yeah. So Wonder Woman, the first half of the film rumored is to take place in the 1920s in World War I.
Interesting. That's a surprising decade.
Yeah, it really is. Most people go with 2, but this is supposed to be like World War I in the 1920s. And the second half of the film is in modern times.
Okay.
Because Princess Diana is supposed to have been around, like, I think over 200 years at least, by the time she gets to Batman versus Superman.
So not like the Captain America movie where we saw a glimpse of the modern times. This movie looks like a more evenly divided period piece in modern times.
Yeah, so something happens in the 20s that carries over to the modern times, I assume.
Okay.
She battles a lot with like I guess demonic entities or like deities and stuff like that. That factors a lot in Wonder Woman mythology. So we'll have to see. But it starts filming in November, which is pretty soon. I think that movie doesn't come out for 2 years.
Wow.
But it starts filming in November. It's a 2017 movie. But I'm excited to see where that goes as well. They're putting a lot of faith in her.
Yeah, and DC. I mean, having not seen anything that out of all these DC movies that are coming out, the one thing at being a Michigander that I love so much is hearing how much they've been filming in Detroit, and Wonder Woman's been in Detroit for Batman vs Superman. So, I'm not sure where they're going to be filming Wonder Woman, but I think it'd be great to hear she's back in the Motor City.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the 1920s just kind of froze in Michigan, doesn't it? Sometimes.
Oh, definitely.
Like Prohibition just stopped it.
Yeah, there's definitely some.
But yeah, Wonder Woman, I'm excited. I want to see what role she has in Batman vs Superman. I mean, she's not even in the title, but she plays a big part in it.
Yeah, it was surprising to hear she was going to be involved with that at all.
Yeah. So another DC movie next year is Suicide Squad. That's on the later half of next year. I think it's the one after Apocalypse, maybe, or near. What's the other X-Men movie coming out? Gambit. I think it's Suicide Squad, then Gambit. But we have a behind-the-scenes image of the Enchantress, and it's Ikara Delevingne or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. But she's in that one. She's in a movie where she runs away or something. She's in a lot of movies. I don't know. Look her up. But she's like covered in mud and like witchcraft symbols. Yeah,
this is a very. I mean, it's not a completely unsettling image, but this is by no means a happy image.
Yeah, so this looks like some goth girl got sad and depressed and dressed up for Halloween like 3 months early.
Yeah,
and what we can see
ran
here,
out of paint.
Yeah. So what I've noticed is people said these symbols on her are like passage symbols, like she's about to like take like some sort of journey into like demonic land or something.
Okay.
And those are like to help the person get through those or something like that. I didn't look a lot into it. I don't know.
Huh. Sure.
But a big... I mean, in the footage, she is not seen with the squad at all.
Okay, I was going to say, I can't remember having seen any glimpses of her.
She's in the trailer. She's sitting like it looks like a watery like grave at one point, like a swamp, and some other scenes, like very glimpsed, but she's never with the squad.
Wow, okay.
Popular rumor is she's one of the villains actually in the movie.
Okay.
Because she actually has powers. She's trying to resurrect her dead brother, who's like a demon or something, because she's being possessed by someone else. I don't know, but out of the Suicide Squad, I think, no one else really has superpowers. Killer Croc might, but that would explain why the other guy with the tattoos, I can't think of his name. I feel horrible. It's like Dante or something like that. I can't even think of it. Oh well, I feel horrible. But Suicide Squad is not really something I've read. And I don't really know much about them.
I've been catching up on the New 52 version of the Suicide Squad, not the current version of the new Suicide Squad. And it looks like his name is El Diablo or Santana.
Okay, El Diablo is definitely what I'm seeing as well. And that sounds very, very satanic as well.
And in the New 52 version of the Suicide Squad, his tattoos fuel his demonic powers, and he's got this very Bane mindset of I'm atoning for past misdeeds, so he kind of sheds these tattoos in fiery greatness, but I've not heard anything about whether or not that's going to be used at all in this movie form.
Yeah, they say he plays the Chato Santana version.
Okay.
But they've not really alluded to him being with the squad either. So
okay.
We'll see. I don't know. Suicide Squad, we need another trailer. It'll probably be a little farther out than everything else, but I'm excited for it, honestly. I want to see where the DC Cinematic Universe goes. I want to give them a little faith on their third outing.
DC has done some pretty good macabre stuff over the years, and I feel like this is a good home for all that macabre, chaos.
And I know exactly what you're saying, but I keep thinking corn on macabre, but I don't think that's a real phrase. We'll write that one down for later. This is why me and Brian can't be in the same room. It's horrible.
Not a lot of productivity.
Not a lot at all. Gotham. Have you watched Gotham at all?
I am not caught up on Gotham, but I am extremely excited to re-catch up on the end of the season. I, through a really bad turn of luck, stopped watching it, and then as soon as I stopped, they started advertising that Joker character. Okay. And so I really want to get back into it.
Yeah, I totally feel you. Season 2 apparently is all villains focused. Season 2 looks way better than Season 1, to be frank.
Awesome.
This new image I have shows what appears to be what is referred to as a Talon in the Court of Owls. In this image, along with a new villain coming called Galavan. You're familiar with the Court of Owls, correct?
I'm a huge fan of the Court of Owls.
Since this is pre-Batman, I think this is a Talon in that era, like pre-fancy-looking Talons.
Sure.
Do you see that?
I would definitely. I definitely think that fits into the lore of the Court of Owls. They have supposedly been in Gotham much longer than Batman. Corrected history very similarly to the League of Shadows, but on a much smaller level. And we could definitely be looking at a Talon that is on a mission from the Order.
Yeah, totally. He looks like he's got the cape from a Talon, and he kind of looks like he's got like a different, like a kind of like a cowl, like an owl cowl on.
It's much more than just a helmet.
Yeah, and the armor, like I looked up some images of Talons, and he looks more like some of the, not the ninja Talons, but some of the other more like just warrior style Talons.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it is. Would you be interested in the Court of Owls appearing on Gotham Season 2?
I think that would be a great that was a great storyline of more of attacking the Wayne legacy than Batman the Body. So I think that would be a great fit in the Gotham world.
Cool. I don't know if I'll ever watch Gotham, but I like to keep up on it. That's how I feel. What I will be watching though is Legends of Tomorrow. Have you caught up? You've watched The Flash. I believe we talked.
I have watched The Flash.
Are you caught up on Arrow?
I'm not caught up on Arrow.
Okay, that's fine. I'm in the same boat. I've never watched Arrow, but I've seen all of The Flash. Legend of Tomorrow has begun filming with this image of a slate. They're showing Legends of Tomorrow. Ooh, September 2015. Gives us a lot of information. It really doesn't. But the next image we have is our first look at Hawkman and Hawkgirl together in costume,
which is a fascinating image.
Yes. So their outfits look like they came out of the Arrow universe.
Okay. I would say the Watchmen universe, but of what DC has presented us with television-wise, definitely more Arrow than Flash.
Yeah,
or Gotham.
I see what you say by Watchmen, because it kind of looked like what's the owl character there?
Yeah.
No, we're horrible at names today.
We know comics.
We do. We've read a few. Where it starts to lose me is that guy's got a little bitty mace in his hand.
Yeah.
And his helmet looks better than hers. Hers just looks wide, and his kind of looks more, like a warrior. Sure. So this is our first look. I think we've seen Hawkgirl before. She sprouts wings and flies. We saw it in like a Legends of Tomorrow trailer. But this is the first time we've seen him. And Mike said that he looks like one of the characters in a TV show. Crap. Man, I'm horrible. We're recording this on a Saturday, by the way. Totally not our normal day. It was Saturday. I'm actually going to pull it up because it's on Facebook. I'm going to pull it up right now. It's the guy with the curly hair and Blake from Workaholics.
Oh my god. Holy crap. I don't know. For how much of his face is covered in this image, you can really see Blake from Workaholics. Wow.
Yeah, so that's Mike. Mike is not here, but he's still with the podcast in spirit by saying he looks like Blake from Workaholics.
That's fantastic.
And someone else replied to that saying, "Oh my god, you can't unsee that." So once you see that, God help you.
Yeah, you really can't.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm Legends of Tomorrow. I really like Flash. I finished Twin Peaks. I will start Arrow. Mike, quit bothering me about it. But when I start watching Arrow, like Legends of Tomorrow is on my to watch list, and it's not going to be a fall season. It's going to be a spring season show.
Oh, okay.
And it's a short mini series. It may get more, kind of like Marvel's Defenders kind of series. But I'm ready for Legends of Tomorrow. I want to see where these other characters can go, because I mean it's got White Canary. It's gonna have Brandon Roos, Ray Palmer / the Atom, Captain Cold.
Okay.
A bunch of random like side characters are getting more focus in their show.
Yeah, nice little playground for them.
Mm-hmm. And time travel through that. It's also related to Arrow. We're going to talk about Season 4. The newest season had a trailer we talked about last week. The Green Lantern Coast City kind of thing is to be teased throughout the show. They said that there's going to be a good Coast City tease, and maybe a ring shows up in the first episode. Now,
interesting.
Is this a Green Lantern ring, or is this a wedding ring? I don't know. But it was in the same sentence as Coast City. So we're leaning towards Green Lantern rings.
Okay.
The Flash had a big thing with Ferris Air in this last season, talking about a pilot who went missing, which is very much akin to Green Lantern's origins in the comics.
Sure. Hal Jordan.
Yeah. We love some Hal Jordan. Not Ryan Reynolds Hal Jordan, but just Hal Jordan in general. Green Lantern's one of my favorite DC comic series. That I've read, so I know more about him than anything else. But I mean, would you like to see Green Lanterns in Arrow?
I mean, I'm a little conflicted because yes, but at the same time, DC has made it very obvious they don't want to share their TV and their movie universe, and I kind of don't want to get invested in a Green Lantern just to get really invested in the movie version a few years later.
Well, the point I'll bring up, I talked about Mike with this is what about Flash? I mean, I really like the Flash show. Like it's one of my favorite shows. But we're gonna get another Flash, movie with a different character later on.
Yeah,
it kind of goes both ways.
Right, it's one of those. If they had earned my trust at this point, I'd probably feel a lot better about. If Marvel did something like this, I probably wouldn't even bat an eye at it. But I just don't know what to expect. I guess. Either way, I like Green Lantern as well. I'm excited to see him in any form. I guess.
Would you see a Green Lantern? What about the original Green Lantern from like the Earth 2 era? Because we're getting Jay Garrick in the Flash, right? Which was the original Golden Age Flash, and in the original Golden Age Green Lantern is a guy who wears a cape and has like a lantern on his thing and a power ring, and his name is Alan Scott, a railroad engineer. So, so this was before Hal Jordan, but he's on Earth 2. I believe.
Okay, yeah, I know what he looks like. I've never read anything with him.
Yeah, I haven't either. But I mean, do you think they could bring in Green Lanterns without Hal Jordans?
I mean, I guess they've done it before, so I won't say they can't do that. That look seems like it's going to need a lot of updating before the Arrow world, but I think that sounds like that premise has grabbed my attention.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are shooting for the guy who plays Diggle to be Jon Stewart, Green Lantern. But we also have Guy Gardner, Jon Stewart, Kyle Rayner, one of my favorite Green Lanterns. And
is he the one from the cartoon?
Kyle Rayner?
Yeah.
I don't think he was in any cartoons. Unless he was in like I don't think so. He's an artist. He was one of the last Green Lanterns when the Green Lanterns were destroyed. The comic one is usually Jon Stewart. For I guess all purposes, he's the Black Green Lantern is Jon Stewart.
Okay. Justice League animated series.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Simon Baz is the most recent New 52 Green Lantern. He's a Muslim from Detroit, so a suburb of Dearborn.
Which quick shout out, he did a signing at Green Brain Comics in Dearborn, Michigan when that series started.
Yeah, so I mean you're in the Dearborn area, like you know exactly where that is. So,
yes.
So so any of those could be cool. I'd like to see Green Lantern. I just hope they do it right and they don't make them have these awful costumes like Diggle's Magneto look does.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know what happened. I'm a little bit into season 3 of Arrow, and Diggle's really, helping out a lot more, and then all of a sudden I saw this image, and something must have happened at the end of this season that
he joined up with the goth kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna jump into something I don't know much about. Preacher, the series Preacher. It's a TV series being based off a comic book. We've talked about it before. It's produced by Seth Rogen. It stars. I'm pretty sure it stars a guy who's Tony Stark's father.
Okay. Played Howard Stark?
Yes. Yes, I can't think of his name, and I feel horrible. Again, I'm horrible with names today. Normally I have a great sense of names. Dominic Cooper. There we go. He's a small-town preacher who's on a mission to find God. And he plays Jesse Custer. And then Ruth Negga, who's actually in S.H.I.E.L.D., she was the girl in the flower dress. Raina.
Okay.
She's in it as well. And there's other characters, such as like a guy named Eugene Root, also known as Arseface, because he shot himself in the face with a gun and survived, so his face is all disfigured. Either way, it's a very messed up show or series. It's Garth Ennis, if that gives you any ideas.
Okay.
But this is the first poster for it, which is Preacher, and it's got the upside down church and cross. So, saying that religion is about to be turned upside down, kind of deal.
Yeah, the world is upside down.
Yeah.
It is, it's very cool. It doesn't tell us much, but it is a cool image.
Yeah, I think the colors give a lot. It's got that rustic, reddish, brownish earth tone.
Yeah, almost like a Walking Dead tone to the way that the word preacher is written.
Yeah. So, we're gonna jump to something a little different. Roadhouse.
Okay. Roadhouse.
Yeah, Roadhouse. Not just house, Roadhouse. They're doing a remake of it, all right? And they're supposedly
My God.
casting Ronda Rousey as the Patrick Swayze character.
Those are big shoes to fill.
Right, and I think she could fill it, but do we really need a remake of Roadhouse?
I don't think Roadhouse left anything unsaid.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact, hey, let's remake it. I finally saw the trailer for the Point Break remake coming out.
Sure.
And I was like,
I've not seen that trailer, but
I'm like, this is stupid. Like I'm like, this looks stupid. I've seen Point Break when I was younger. I don't remember much. I've probably seen Roadhouse when I was younger. I'm not clamoring for a sequel or a remake of Roadhouse, let alone the original Roadhouse itself. I was at Best Buy yesterday, but it's the only Blu-ray in a red case at Roadhouse. Was Roadhouse.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Always fun to find the ones that don't come in blue boxes.
Yeah, I don't think Ronda Rousey is a leading actress. I think she's a side character.
Okay.
An example, looking at Deadpool, they have Gina Carano. She's an MMA fighter as a side character, not a main character. So, either way. Transformers 5 is happening. We all know it to be true. Search your hearts.
Yeah. Whether we wanted to or not.
Yeah, the latest news to come out of that is from one of the voice actors, is that Mark Wahlberg will be returning, and he'll be taking the Dinobots with him on some adventures around the world.
That is an exciting bit to hear if you're gonna after getting that helps get the taste of Transformers 5 out of your mouth. More Dinobots.
Yeah, Transformers 4 was pretty terrible.
It was pretty bad.
I felt horrible the whole time. I didn't even have a good time. I was like, I can just turn off and have a good time. No, I didn't do that. But the other part of this movie is that Optimus Prime is in space looking for like the people who created the Autobots and Decepticons. And he comes into contact and like tries to find Unicron, like the god of all, those robots dudes.
Sure. I'm not a huge Transformers fan, but I watched enough to never have seen Unicron, but always know they were always looking for signs of Unicron. But
yeah,
that's exciting to hear in the Transformers world that Optimus will be meeting Unicron.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's clamored for Unicron for a long time to see, the space part of or Transformers.
Sure.
And I mean, I just hope they don't do him wrong. Like, I hated that transforming effect on the last one, where they look like a bunch of building blocks swirling around.
Oh, yeah.
And even the Dinobots weren't that cool on the last one.
No.
So hopefully they can make the Dinobots A, better, and Unicron B, not suck. So
I think they got a lot of negative feedback on the Dinobots, and so if they're bringing them back, I think they'll be sprucing them up.
Well, I think the thing that gives me hope is they've got a writing room for Transformers, like a writing team. And we're talking about, like, Robert Kirkman is on that, and a bunch of other people were involved on this writing team. And I think
that's impressive.
I think this is, again, the rule of 5. Every 5th movie, a series gets better. And on Transformers 5, hopefully they got all these people in, like, all right, we actually want to take this seriously for once. We don't want to just cash in what we could cash in on. But do you think Michael Bay will come back for it?
I'm sorry, did you say, do I think he will?
Or, yeah, do you think he will?
I mean, I think it's the best. I think he should. I don't know what else he has going, so I'd say yes.
Yeah, I don't really think I'd want to see him do anything else at this point in his life. Other than maybe fall down some stairs. Oh, man, I'm pretty mean. Well, let's jump into another movie that's on its 5th one. Bourne 5.
Okay, another movie that no one is asking for.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. I really enjoyed Bourne 1 through 3.
Sure.
That's a great, solid trilogy. You can sit down and watch 1 through 3. You get closure.
Definitely.
The Bourne Legacy is what I call a Baker's trilogy movie. It has nothing to do with the original trilogy. It just kind of comes out of nowhere and just is there as an add-on, right?
Yeah. Hawkeye the movie, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to know how Hawkeye got to be so cool? That's how. That's the movie. They should just rename it that and go with that. It was okay. Jeremy Renner's a great action star, but I just don't think it should have been a Bourne film. This new one shows a scene from Bourne 5. It's got Matt Damon looking ripped as ever. It looks like he's in like maybe the Middle East or South America with some people. And he looks like he's like working on something, like putting his like super agent strength to use.
It looks like he's about to fight Brad Pitt from Snatch.
I could see a fight club between those two going on.
Yeah, there you
go. But maybe if like Brad Pitt and like Edward Norton mixed together, we get this Matt Damon. But either way, he's looking good for as old as he is.
This is true.
I don't want to see him in The Martian. I'm glad he has hair. I didn't like him in Elysium when he shaved his head.
Sure.
But I'm glad to see Bourne coming back. I'm glad to see Matt Damon and Paul Greengrass returning. The original guys who did it. Give me some Bourne 5. I'm ready for it. I don't know if it could be a standalone. It can kick off another trilogy. I don't care. But Bourne kind of changed the game. I watched American Ultra last night. I was telling you this. And it's essentially like a Bourne movie, but instead of Matt Damon, it's a stoner who's like activated instead.
This is the Jesse Eisenberg one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, it made me crave a good movie like that where someone gets activated or amnesia and forgets who they are or how they have all these abilities, but they do anyway.
Okay. And it's exciting to hear Matt Damon is coming back.
Right. I mean, if he has enough faith in it, he's not hurting for movies. Like,
right.
I mean, he's in the Martian coming up. I mean, that looks like it's a award-winning kind of film. But
more so than he'd get for Bourne 5.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I'm ready for it. Bourne 5, that's my thing. I'm ready. I have the other movies. I'm ready for more. So let's talk about something you haven't seen, Doctor Who.
This is true. I do not know my Doctor Who.
I don't think Mike does either. I think of the three of us, I'm the Doctor Who guy.
Okay.
The season 9 premiere trailer came out. It looks pretty exciting. It's got her name's Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones, who plays Arya Stark. She's a big part of this season.
Okay. Oh wow.
Doctor Who. I mean, it's about every year, and it kicks off September 16th, 8th or 19th, a week from today.
Okay.
I've got a calendar of TV shows now of when they premiere, when they air. I'm excited to see season 9. I haven't watched the Christmas episode from last year, but this one looks to pick up last season and carry on with it, where each season usually stands alone a little bit. This one looks to carry over the story and the characters and build upon this new, older, crankier, grumpier old Doctor character.
Okay.
So season 9, again, there are not very many episodes a season. I think maybe like 10 or so. 13 in the other ones. David Tennant, who will be the Purple Man, got his start in Doctor Who. He was a great one. Everyone loves him. I like Christopher Eccleston, who was Malekith, the Accursed, in Thor: The Dark World.
Oh, wow.
And then the third Doctor in this series, since the 2005 reboot, was Matt Smith, who was in the last Terminator movie. And he was in that one as well. So, I don't know. Either way, the Doctor Who, I like it. If you get a chance to watch it, it's a good thing to put on the background. But it's if you don't, that's no big deal.
It's a series that's been on the Netflix wish list for me for a while now, so I need to.
Yeah,
I need to finally.
The thing is, people think there's a lot of it because it's been around for like 50 plus years, but you don't have to watch. You don't have to watch the old stuff. When it came back in 2005, that's when you really need to like start watching it.
That's its own set of continuity.
Well, it's still within the other continuity. It's all tied together, but it's a good fresh start for people.
Okay, a good jumping in point.
Yeah, a good jumping in point. And it touches on what the missing time in between the I guess the 8th Doctor and the 9th Doctor, where everything is missing, like where it was off the air for a few years. Like they cover that as it goes forward. So you get flashbacks and hints of what happened.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good. I like it. You like Christopher Nolan?
I'm a big fan.
All right, he will direct an untitled film for Warner Brothers. That's set to release on July 21st, 2017.
Do we know anything about this movie in terms of is he writing the
this is all I know.
Screenplay?
This is all I know at this point. I feel like that's a quick turnaround time for Christopher Nolan. Because I mean it's less than 2 years. and I feel like he works on his films a little bit longer.
Sure.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, his last movie was Interstellar. I have not seen.
I have not seen that either.
But I mean, he could be working on stuff right now, like for this film, and has been. But he will be directing it, and that's all. That's all I know.
Okay.
A lot of people are claiming like, oh, he's going to be doing a Warner Brothers DC movie. I don't think he's going to. But
it seems like an inevitable theory.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, oh, Batman, he's coming back for Batman. And everyone's like, no. If they're doing Batman, Ben Affleck's doing Batman. Like, he will direct and do his own. But, I mean, I don't know. If he could do a DC character, Brian, which one would you have him do?
I mean, I'm tempted to jump... Like, Green Lantern is where my mind jumps right away because of the whole... his ability to build these crazy worlds. But...
See, I think that's a little too ungrounded for him.
Right, yeah, because they're not so much like they're not. He's not so much fantasy worlds as in
It's
you know,
science.
you look at Inception, and and there's just these worlds that have a lot of laws to them.
My guess would, of the DC movies, I would guess Aquaman.
Wow,
he was able to bring Batman back from Joel Schumacher. Aquaman's a joke, right? But
sure.
Again, it already has a release date of July 21st, 2017, so it may not even be related since we already have all those movies out or scheduled.
I was a big fan of the Entourage storyline where the main character is trying to be Aquaman in a movie and thinks it's a total joke until James Cameron gets signed on as the director, and hearing Christopher Nolan Aquaman in the same sentence is a hilariously deja vu kind of feeling, because that makes Aquaman sound pretty promising. But I don't, and I don't know. I'm not a big Aquaman fan, so
no one is. Don't let them lie to you.
Yeah, but yeah, Nolan could do an interesting Aquaman. I agree with what you said that this July 21st, 2017 is most likely not a DC movie, but Aquaman would be pretty cool to see him try to handle. Yeah,
or Superman. If Superman did get a standalone film,
sure.
They haven't announced that or Batman. That's kind of where those rumors came from. It opens against Pitch Perfect 3, so sorry, Andy Kendrick, you're gonna need more cups.
You can't be in it.
Yeah. So all right, last bit of news for the week: King Kong versus Godzilla.
Wow. Do we have a release on when this is supposed to come, or a year for when this is supposed to come out?
No, because first off, there's a movie called Kong Skull Island coming out, like King Kong Skull Island. Which is kind of like a King Kong reboot.
Right, that's King Kong's original origin.
Yeah, and Godzilla 2, the sequel to Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, needs to come out first as well.
Okay.
But Legendary is taking these movies to Warner Brothers for, I think, distribution. And that kind of puts them all in the same wheelhouse, leading to the King Kong versus Godzilla.
Wow.
Do I think we need this? No. I honestly have not seen the last King Kong movie. Like the 2005 version.
Jack Black?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're not missing much.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not. I enjoyed the other Godzilla, but I think they're going to need all... It's not the Godzillas I remember that were campy and fun.
Right.
And, just so bad they're watchable. Like, you enjoy them.
Yeah.
They're trying too hard on these, and I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he'll have babies, and there'll be baby Godzillas.
It's really hard to think of the original Godzilla movies as having been scary when they were released, and I really feel like the fan base for movies right now, or the people spending the most money demographic-wise on movies right now, view Godzilla as a campier monster, and that, trying to make it this... I mean, the one with Bryan Cranston that just came out was... it was good, but it was just not Godzilla. It was just a giant monster to me.
Right. And I mean, we've proven America can't make Godzilla. If we look at the Matthew Broderick one and this one, I mean, this one made a lot of money. It's critically well received, but simply because you can only have one movie to compare it against.
Yep.
and that's it. So I don't care. Got King Kong, Godzilla versus Freddy versus Jason versus Transformers. I don't care at this point. Just throw them all together.
I wonder if Warner Brothers though is insisting that they do the King Kong v Godzilla rather than King Kong vs Godzilla.
That was me. They have no title yet. That was me ripping on the Batman v Superman. Like this is not actually a battle film. They're in court. Somebody hurt somebody else.
Kramer.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a court case of King Kong versus Godzilla versus the United States. Sure. And nobody really wins. But yeah, that's really all the news we got for this week. That went by much smoother than I expected. So we got so much. Like that's the thing. It's kind of jam packed in here this week, as you can tell. This is your first time on the podcast. How'd it go?
Oh, man, this is my first time on any podcast, actually, and yeah, this is for looking at these show notes. You kept order in a lot of chaos. Yeah. We were all over the board.
Well, I mean, that's what we tried to do, and as you can tell, segues are not the easiest things to accomplish when you're jumping from Transformers to Roadhouse to Christopher Nolan.
That's right. Hey, we're only working with what Hollywood's given us.
Yeah, they should just hire us and put us in the middle of this, and that's where we need to be.
We'd organize this.
Yeah, we would make it work. So, this is a part of the show where you get to plug yourself, Brian. If people want to follow you and become your follower and your friend and know more about what you do, especially your hippo artwork, I think you should plug that here. Where can they follow you at?
Well, I'm PicketFence14 on the Twitters. And on the Instagram, and I also have a selection of artwork that I do. Well, I'm doing superheroes as hippos, and I have a collection of that on my Instagram, and I'm moving that all to hipposforhire.com, and that's for FOR, hipposforhire.com. But that site is not in existence yet, so definitely check back there.
When that launches, I'll be sure to let people know. I was there in the creation of that. That was a good weekend for.
This is true. That. You came up with that name. And credit where credit's due.
Well, I mean, it's all from Heroes for Hire, the Luke Cage thing. So I mean, it's appropriate. But yeah, no, Brian's hippo artwork is spot on. He does custom drawings at conventions we go to, for a good price. And you can buy. Are you selling your variant comics?
I will be at C2E2. I'm going to be unveiling about a dozen variant comics with my own covers on them. Yeah, so I mean these are fantastic. Just go check it out. I mean, Mike does his comic books, but Brian's got this hippo art down to an art. Your artwork's to an art. Like that's the best way to put it. So that's great. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Valdan VALDAN, or Comic UI, where we both reside. We have a surprise coming for Comic UI in the coming months. Yes. Lots of big exciting news for Comic UI coming up. Yeah, and it's not just one or two things. It's several big things. And I'm not going to announce them yet because I want to kind of get some more stuff, solidified there. But me and Brian have been working and talking, and we're ready to, I guess, evolve into our next evolution. Yes, this is not our final form. No, this is not our final form. We don't even have our Mega Stones yet. We can't even Mega Evolve. So that's a Pokemon reference. Boom. But, yeah, right? So, but as always, please visit superheroslate.com where you can get all our stuff, all our show notes. You can also find us on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Tumblr, email. We have our own Twitter account, Facebook. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We are all over the place. If you can type in Superhero Slate, we're probably there. With iOS 9 coming out next week, I've actually submitted Superhero Slate to be one of their news channels on Apple News app. That is awesome. Along with Comic UI, which isn't updating, but you guys shouldn't have that anyway. Only us developers should have that because we're developers. That's right. But yeah, this has been a great podcast. Thanks for joining, Brian. We hope to have you back. Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I would love to come back. Yeah, it's been a great. We missed Mike, but again, you gave him a run for his money. So, all right, guys. Yeah. Well, we'll catch you next week. All right. Bye. Until then.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.